If you're watching this and you're in your 70s or 80s, I want you to pause for a moment. Take a breath. Think about where you are right now in life, not just your physical location, but your season, your chapter. You've walked through decades, through joys, heartbreaks, birthdays, ordinary Tuesdays, and maybe even a few sleepless nights worrying about someone you love. And yet, here you are. Now, let me tell you something most people don't say nearly enough. If you're still able to do even a handful of the things we're about to talk about today, you are not just doing well, you are extraordinary. You are a rare gem in a world that often forgets the strength it takes to age with dignity, with presence, and with heart. Because aging well isn't just about living longer, it's about how you live, the way you move through your day, the clarity in your thoughts, the softness in your relationships, the peace you feel when your bills are paid and your lights are on. These things may seem simple, but in truth, they're signs of something far deeper, signs of a life well lived and still thriving. So let's begin with something we often take for granted until it's gone, your ability to move. Can you still get up from a chair without help? Do you go for walks, maybe even dance a little in the kitchen when no one's looking? If so, my friend, you are holding on to one of the most powerful forms of freedom there is, physical independence. You see, our legs are the first part of us to weaken as we age. That might come as a surprise, but it's true. It's not your arms or your back, it's your legs. And when they start to go, your world can get smaller. Stairs become intimidating. Even a trip to the mailbox can feel risky. But if you're still walking confidently, if you're climbing stairs or tending to a garden, then your body is still your ally. I once knew a man named Harold, 83 years old, and every morning without fail, he took a brisk walk around the park. He said it was his morning meeting with life. Nothing fancy, just movement, rhythm, breath, one step after another. And let me tell you, you could feel the vitality in him. It wasn't about speed, it was about presence. He moved with purpose, and in that, he stayed free. If you can still move with intention, if your legs still carry you, your hands still grip with strength, your balance still holds, you are not just lucky, you are strong. And strength at your age is a quiet kind of miracle. Now let's shift for a moment. Let's talk about your mind, because independence isn't just physical, it's also mental. Are you still making your own decisions, remembering the name of your neighbor's dog, or planning what to cook for dinner? That alertness you feel, that ability to think clearly, solve problems, follow a story from beginning to end, that is gold. So many people fear losing their memory as they age. And yes, some forgetfulness is natural. You might walk into a room and wonder what you came for. That's human. But if you're still engaging with the world, still reading, still learning, still having conversations that make you laugh or think, then your mind is very much alive. I remember a woman named Gloria, 78 and sharp as a tack. Every day she did the crossword puzzle in pen, and not the easy one in the back of a magazine, the real deal. She said it made her feel like her brain was still doing push-ups. And you know what? She was right. She kept her mind active, curious, playful, and in doing so, she protected one of her greatest treasures, her clarity. Because when your mind is strong, you remain the author of your own story. You choose how your day unfolds. You know what pills to take, what letter needs mailing, what story you want to share at lunch. That kind of mental presence, it's not something to take lightly. If you still have it, you are holding a rare and precious gift. Now, let me ask you a delicate question. Are you managing your money in a way that lets you sleep at night? I'm not talking about being wealthy. I'm talking about being steady. Bills paid, lights on, a little left over for a gift or a trip or a rainy day. Financial peace in your 70s or 80s is one of the greatest forms of independence. It means you're not constantly relying on your children. It means you can make decisions, small or large, without always asking someone else. And that feeling, that quiet assurance that your needs are covered is no small thing. I once met a retired postman named Walter. He told me, I never made a fortune, but I always saved a little. Every paycheck, a little. And in his 80s, he didn't drive a fancy car or take cruises, but he had enough to treat his grandkids to ice cream, enough to fix the roof when it leaked, enough to know he could take care of himself. That's dignity. That's freedom. That's wisdom in action. Because here's the truth. Money, when managed wisely, becomes a form of self-respect. It's not about what you own. It's about how safely and independently you can live. If you're still able to handle your affairs, still budgeting, still making thoughtful choices about spending, then you are not just surviving. Now let's talk about something that doesn't show up on a medical chart or in a financial statement, but speaks volumes about the kind of life you've built. How is your relationship with your adult children? Can you speak to them without walking on eggshells? Do they treat you with respect, not out of obligation, but because they genuinely value what you have to say? It's one thing to raise children. It's another to release them into adulthood, to give them space to grow and still find a way to stay connected, not as their manager, but as their trusted guide. If you're able to love your children without needing to control them, and if they come to you for advice, for stories, for comfort, then what you've nurtured goes far beyond family. You've created mutual respect. You've built something sacred. That's not always easy. There comes a point when roles shift. You might remember when they were little, needing you for everything. Then suddenly they're raising children of their own, making choices you don't always agree with, and you're left learning how to hold space without holding the reins. But if you've managed to navigate that change with grace, if you can offer your presence without pushing your opinions, if your phone still rings because they want to hear your voice, not because they feel they have to check in, then you've done something rare. You've shown them how to grow up without growing apart. I once met a woman named Lorraine. She was 81 and lived in a cozy little home filled with light. Her children visited often, not because they were summoned, but because they genuinely enjoyed her company. She didn't try to run their lives. She didn't offer advice unless asked, but she listened with her whole heart. And when she did speak, her words carried weight, not from volume, but from wisdom. That kind of relationship isn't built overnight. It comes from years of showing up, letting go, and choosing connection over control. If you've found that balance, if your children see you not just as a parent, but as a person, flawed, wise, still learning, then you've done something many never manage. You've raised a family that still feels like home. And now I want to talk about one more thing, something quieter than physical strength, subtler than finances, and sometimes even harder to measure than memory, but it might just be the most telling of all. Do you have someone, anyone, with whom you can share your day, someone who knows your stories, your moods, your pauses? It might be a spouse, a dear friend, even a companion animal who curls up next to you while you sip your tea. Whatever form it takes, this emotional connection, this steady presence, matters more than most people realize. Because companionship in these later years, it's not about grand romance or big declarations. It's about knowing there's someone beside you when the house gets too quiet, someone who remembers the version of you that existed before the wrinkles and gray hair, but still sees beauty in the person you are now. I once spoke with a gentleman named James. He'd been married for over 55 years. When I asked him what kept their bond strong, he didn't talk about passion or flowers or vacations. He said, "We sit together every night. We don't always talk. Sometimes we just watch the light change across the room. But she's there, and I'm there, and that's enough." There's something profoundly healing about being seen and accepted in your everydayness. When you've lived a long life filled with both triumphs and regrets, it means the world to know that someone still wants to hear how your day went or hold your hand during a hard moment. That kind of connection isn't loud, but it is deep. And if you have it, whether in a partner, a sibling, a best friend, or even a neighbor who checks in on you regularly, you are not alone. You are tethered to something human and meaningful. And that, more than anything, keeps the heart strong. So take a quiet moment now. Reflect on these 5 things, not with a critical eye, but with gentle honesty. Are you still moving with freedom, however slowly? Is your mind still curious, engaged, awake? Are you managing your life and finances in a way that brings you peace? Do your relationships with your children feel like bridges, not battlegrounds? And do you have someone, anyone, who shares the journey with you? If you can say yes to even a few of these, you are not just getting older, you are aging with grace. You are part of a rare group who is not simply existing, but still living with strength, intention, and purpose. Because here's the quiet truth the world often forgets. Aging doesn't mean fading. It means refining. Just as stones in a river become smooth with time, so do people. Life may wear down the edges, but it also polishes the soul. And if you can still love, still move, still think, still give, still connect, then you are proof that growing older can be the most beautiful chapter yet. You are not past your prime. You are in a season that carries its own kind of wisdom and beauty. And if you're still here, still showing up, still finding ways to smile, to grow, to offer something to the world, then you are a rare gem, truly. And the world is better for having you in it. There's something beautiful about knowing where you've been. At this point in life, you've likely said goodbye to a few dreams and maybe hello to some unexpected joys. You've probably watched the world change around you while discovering that some of the most important things, kindness, connection, peace, never go out of style. So when I say you are a rare gem, I'm not speaking in poetry, I'm speaking in truth. You see, most people rush through life, always looking for the next thing, the next promotion, the next house, the next milestone. But you, at 70 or 80, you carry something they don't: perspective, depth, lived experience that no book or podcast or article could ever teach. And if you've managed to preserve even a portion of your physical freedom, your mental clarity, your financial peace, your relationships with your family, and the quiet comfort of companionship, then you've already succeeded in ways this world often fails to measure. And that doesn't mean everything's been easy. Maybe you've lost someone you love. Maybe your body has aches that weren't there before. Maybe the days are sometimes quieter than you'd like them to be. But even through the quiet, you continue to show up. You continue to care for yourself. You continue to find beauty in ordinary things: the warm sun on your face, a handwritten letter in the mail, the sound of birds at dawn. That kind of resilience is rare. That kind of quiet strength is what turns a person into a living legacy. You may not think of yourself that way. You might look in the mirror and see someone older, someone whose skin is softer, whose hair has turned silver, whose hands bear the marks of time. But let me tell you what else I see. I see someone who has endured, someone who has adapted, someone who has continued with grace. There's something sacred about making peace with where you are. It doesn't mean giving up on growth. Quite the opposite. It means recognizing that growth looks different now. It's less about striving and more about settling into yourself, more about knowing what matters and letting go of what doesn't. When you were younger, perhaps your strength was measured by how much you could carry or how far you could run, but now your strength is something deeper. It's measured in the way you listen, the way you forgive, the way you hold a conversation with someone who's hurting and offer calm instead of panic, wisdom instead of judgment, space instead of noise. That kind of strength cannot be rushed. It comes only with time, only with living, only with staying open to life, even as it changes form. And that's what makes you a rare gem. You are not defined by the speed of your step or the sharpness of your eyesight. You are defined by the way you move through this season of life with intention, the way you still reach for connection, still practice kindness, still seek meaning in the small things. You are part of a generation that knows how to write thank you notes, how to sit through silence without needing to fill it, how to look someone in the eyes and truly listen. That is worth more than most realize. That is the kind of richness that lasts. So if you ever feel overlooked in a fast-moving world, I want you to remember this: your presence matters. Your story matters. And you are more valuable than you may know. And the world often celebrates youth, but it desperately needs elders. It needs you, your humor, your lessons, your stillness, your lived truth. Because there are things only you can teach about patience, forgiveness, resilience, and faith. Not the loud kind of faith that shouts, but the steady kind that keeps going even when no one is watching. You might not move as quickly anymore. You might forget a name now and then. But if you can look at your life and see moments of grace, if you can smile at a memory, even one with a touch of pain, if you can still offer your heart to the people around you, then you are thriving, even now. Especially now. Because aging well isn't about denying the years. It's about honoring them, wearing them with pride, letting them shape you into someone softer, wiser, more deeply human. And so I'll leave you with this thought. If you can move with intention, think with clarity, manage your needs with dignity, love your children without needing to control them, and share your heart with someone in whatever way it's possible, then you, my dear, are the rarest kind of gem. Not because you've avoided aging, but because you've embraced it with open hands and a steady soul. And that is something worth celebrating.